Yo, what's good, EYTBC? What's good, fight fans? Boxing heads around the world. B Marsh with another boxing video. So this is my Fights We Didn't Get to See series. Back at it one more time. About to take you back to 1993, 1994, man. You know what I'm saying? These were good years of boxing, you know what I mean? And this particular fight about to get into is a fight between the WBO super middleweight champion of the world, Chris Eubank Sr. from the UK versus the IBF super middleweight champion of the world, James Lights Out Toney. So James Lights Out Toney versus simply the best, you know what I mean? Chris Eubank Sr. All right. Now, this is a fight that we should have got to see between 93, 94, you know what I'm saying? Anytime in between then. Let's say between 93, 94. Pick the year. It's your pick, whatever you want to pick, you know what I mean? Now, this a fight we didn't get to see as but matter of fact, this guy I got a series this controversial not contro fights we didn't get to see. I got a playlist, man. I've done numerous fights, you know what I mean? I'm gonna throw them links in the description box so you can peep for yourselves. You know what I mean? All the fights that I've done, as far as controversial decisions. You know what I mean? And there's numerous fights, so you could check out the playlist. I'm gonna throw it in the description box. All right. Now, this fight, like I said, we should have got it between 93, 94. The IBF super middleweight champ was James Toney. He got his strap from beating convincingly, decisively, precisely. He beat Iran Barkley in an excellent display of boxing skills. The man James Toney was excellent, fighting off the ropes, counter punching, fighting in the pocket right in front of the man Iran Barkley, slipping punches, using his head movement, shoulder roll, the Philly shell, all that, man. It was just miraculous. James Toney, like I said, man, this guy to me, he's one of the greats. He has a couple mishaps, a little blunders at the end in his career, you know what I'm saying? Fights he should have never lost. He has fights that he did lose. He should have never got the decision. But all in all, James Toney was a great fighter. The man got up probably 100 fights in his career. He's what we call a throwback fighter, you know what I mean? And this fight right here with Chris Eubank Sr. Chris Eubank Sr. was a WBO champion. He got his strap when he fought for a vacant title, actually, when he fought against Michael Watson in a rematch. He stopped Michael Watson in the 12th round, damn near killed the man. Michael Watson never fought a fight again after that fight, you know what I mean? The man was temporarily paralyzed, damn near brain dead. Man, it was bad, you know what I mean? Not quite as bad as Gerald McKellen, because, the man Michael Watson can see, talk, walk, and all that. But he ain't blind, but it was devastating, and those type of things, I ain't gonna lie, they do scare me in boxing, but all in all, we still watch the fights, right? You know what I'm saying? I thought we almost had a similar situation with Lemieux versus Curtis Stevens, but I heard Curtis Stevens is all right, and give thanks and thank God for that, But this fight, like I said, man, WBO strap was held by Chris Eubank Sr. You know what I'm saying? He won it in 91, and Iran Barkley got beat by James Toney. Matter of fact, they go Iran Barkley. He got beat by him in 1993, February, right? You check it. So why I say this fight should have happened in any time in between then, because basically, James Toney, man, he didn't defend his title too much in 1993, you know what I'm saying, after he beat Iran Barkley. Matter of fact, he fought a lot of non-title fights, basically almost fighting every month of that year. He won the title, I believe, in February. He fought in March, April, June, July, August. He was basically fighting every month against nondescript, obscure opponents, you know what I mean? And the only guy he fought in defending his title, I believe, that year was a guy by the name of Tony Thornton, you know what I mean? And ironically, Tony Thornton is is also an opponent, a common opponent that Chris Eubank Sr. fought, you know what I mean? And Chris Eubank Sr. and James Toney fought Tony Thornton. Tony Thornton lost to both of these guys via unanimous decision. All right, now James Toney, who'd he fight? He fought nobody, basically, 93, 94, but also fought a bunch of nobodies till he fought Roy Jones Jr., you know what I mean? And I believe that was at the end of the year, you know what I'm saying? Like November of 94. I distinctively remember that fight, you know what I mean? November 94, because I remember James Toney, man, he came into, what was he rocking? I think he came into Above the Law. He came into that Black Superman joint, you know what I mean? From Above the Law, from Ruthless Records. And, I really love that song back in the G, you know what I mean? And, those were the great days of boxing, great days of hip hop. Everything was all gravy, man. Even the gear was fly as fuck back in the G. Nice, everything was all good, man. The 90s were a good time, you know what I mean? And I remember James Toney came into Above the Law, and what's his name came into what he was rocking. That man was Roy Jones Jr. was listening to what you call it. He came into Bone Thugs and Harmony, I believe, Thuggish Ruggish Bone. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's get into this fight, man. Chris Eubank Sr., man, super middleweight titles, man, to be honest, it's a title that's mostly been held by Europeans, you know what I mean? Whether from England, Germany, Italy, anywhere. Anybody and everybody in Europe has held these titles. Even a guy, what's his name, Mikhail Kessler. Where was Mikhail Kessler from? Was he Swedish or something, you know what I mean? You check it, so primarily it's been a title held by Europeans, you know what I'm saying? So, when the man Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr., they did fight actually in 1993. So, that was a major fight in the UK. I don't remember where it was at. Was it in Cardiff, Wales? I can't remember, man, but I do believe it might have been an outdoor soccer stadium, you know what I mean? Now, that fight, I believe, was also like in 93, like the end of 93. You check it. So that's a major super fight, okay? I remember, actually, I'm going to even leave that description. There was a time, James Toney came on a television show where Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn were promoting their fight, you know what I mean? They rematch. You check it, and he came on the show while these two guys, UK guys, were promoting their Unification rematch, and James Toney came and said, "They'll fight in England. They'll fight in England. They're all bums." He was basically chastising, ridiculing, basically insulting Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr., you know what I mean? And, Nigel Benn, he was a guy who, he was a ruthless guy in his own right, you know what I mean? And I don't think he was scared of the man, James Toney, man. But I ain't gonna lie, Chris Eubank Sr., man, he definitely didn't want no parts of James Toney in that confrontation on camera, on live TV, you know what I mean? You check it. So, I remember James Toney said, "I'll fight any of you bums. I'll fight them on the same night," you know what I mean? He said, "I'll even fight, I'll beat you and your mama's ass." Something to that effect, And Chris Eubank Sr. had basically no reply, you know what I mean? You check it, I know you can't do much via satellite, threatening a man and acting like you won't go jump through the TV and whoop his ass. But, man, the man, Chris Eubank Sr., man, he ain't retaliate. He ain't even want to really speak, you know what I'm saying? Oh, my gosh. What a knockout. Look at my guy, Nigel Benn, the Dark Destroyer. I actually thought the Dark Destroyer won this second fight, man. You know what I'm saying? The rematch. But all right, let's get into it, man. So, 93, these two guys have a big, massive fight, big payday, you know what I'm saying? That's all well and fine, sure. But 1994, these two guys, they ain't really fight no significant fights, you know what I'm saying? As far as James Toney fought Roy Jones Jr. at the end of the year, you know what I'm saying? Roy Jones Jr. moved up in weight for middleweight, you know what I mean? Dropped his IBF strap, went up to super middleweight. Both guys were on the pound for pound list, mind you. That's why the fight happened in the United States between Roy Jones Jr. and James Toney, you know what I'm saying? Made sense, just like Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn fought in the UK. Made a lot of sense. That's big money for both camps, you know what I mean? In the UK and in the US, right? You checking out Simply the Best, you know what I'm saying? In 1994, he should have tried to get a fight, not him alone, even Nigel Benn. He should have tried to get a fight also with James Toney, you know what I'm saying? But both of these guys, in my opinion, they ain't want no parts of James Toney, James Toney was a slick fighter, old school fighter, great head movement, great defender, a guy who stands right in the pocket, slipping punches, and you can't even hit the guy, you know what I mean? You check it. Now, the man, James Toney, he called both of these guys out. He insulted them on live TV. And none of them ever came on the scene to try to challenge the man, you know what I'm saying? None of them wanted no parts of James Toney, you know what I mean? James Toney made it quite clear that he would have liked to fight You know, would a James Toney came to the United States to fight? I'm sorry, to the UK to fight these guys? I don't think so. You know, I don't think so. Maybe he would have. I don't know. Maybe if the money was right. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? But one thing for sure, two things for certain. The man, Chris Eubank Sr., wasn't coming to the United States. All right? That's one thing we cannot deny. The man basically fought his whole career in UK. You know what I mean? Yeah, he had a couple fights in the United States early in his career. You know what I'm saying? The man started out fighting in the States, and I think Atlantic City, because he was based out of the New York area, out of the Bronx. You know what I mean? But you know, I don't think the man Chris Eubank Sr. would have came to the United States. You know what I'm saying? He never showed nothing. He never showed any will to come to the United States during his whole career. You know what I'm saying? Except from the early parts of his career. You know what I mean? Now, the man James Toney, should he have gone to the UK? He probably would have gone to the UK. I'm sure it would have made massive money. I'm sure it would have, you know what I'm saying? And James Toney, I'm sure he probably would have gone out there, you know? You check it to the UK if the money was right, you know what I'm saying? But, and you know, the UK fans, you know, they definitely know they boxing. They know who James Toney is, as opposed to the United States, where probably nobody knew who the fuck who Chris Eubank Sr. was, you know what I'm saying? And Nigel Benn, you know what I mean? Even Nigel Benn, he fought a few fights in the States, you know what I mean? But you check it, the man Chris Eubank Sr., you know, his position of coming to the United States, he wasn't going to do it, you know what I mean? He ain't want no parts of guys like, who had the WBA strap? Michael Nunn had the WBA strap. He didn't want to come fight Roy Jones Jr. I think in 94, maybe 95 is when he fought Steve Collins. Steve Collins gave Chris Eubank Sr. his first loss. Again, that's another domestic fight, massive fight in the UK, you know what I'm saying? So you could understand why Chris Eubank Sr. stayed a lot in the UK and ain't want to fight in the United States, you know what I mean? He got massive paydays. He was getting paid massive paydays in the UK, you know what I mean? Even this a quote from Chris Eubank Sr., you know. He also had a chances to fight guys like Mike McCollum, you know what I mean? But he himself said when he was making 8,000 pounds a fight, this is what Chris Eubank say. When he made 8,000 pounds a fight, nobody, Mike McCollum ain't give him a shot, you know what I mean? So when Chris Eubank Sr., you know, got his notoriety up in the UK and started making all 800,000 pounds a fight, he never gave Mike McCollum that shot, you know what I mean? And he should have, you know. They should have fought, man. Two guys with Jamaican heritage, you know what I'm saying? That fight should have happened, you know what I mean? Look at Michael Nunn getting knocked off his feet, you know what I mean? Anyways, as far as, okay, so like I said, 93, 94, the fight should have happened. It didn't happen. But if it did happen, I think it would have gone like this, you know. I think, and I said they did have a common opponent in the guy Tony Thornton, and that's a guy they both got rid of. They didn't get rid of, but they beat the unanimous decision on points. So as far as how the fight would look in the ring, James Toney, like I said, was a slick fighter. James Toney is also a guy who can lose also on any given night too, you know. Close fights, you know what I mean? You know, what's that guy's name? The Tabiri guy. I thought that the David Tabiri guy beat James Toney, you know. Then he had that loss to guys like Montel Griffin, which was a close fight, you know what I mean? Probably could have gone either way. So, you know, James Toney was also a guy, man. He left a lot of margin of error, you know what I'm saying? And if Chris Eubank, who in my opinion was an intelligent fighter too, you know what I'm saying? If he wanted to get rid of James Toney, he'd have to be a brave fighter in there and not, you know, James Toney was a guy who talks mad shit, and he probably could get into a guy like Chris Eubank Sr.'s head, you know, in my opinion. I think Chris Eubank Sr. was kind of sensitive, you know what I mean? And, you know, it showed from that clip when the man was on with Nigel Benn, and the man James Toney insulted his mother, man. It looked like Chris Eubank wanted to cry. He ain't say nothing, man. He was all, you know, he was in his feelings, you know what I mean? But Chris Eubank Sr. was a guy who had an iron chin. You check it. That's one thing for sure. Two things for certain. He could get dropped. There he goes, getting dropped by Michael Watson, you know. But he ain't getting knocked out, you know what I'm saying? I think he's only been stopped once in his career. That was Carl Thompson at the end of his career, you know what I mean? Eubank's career, you know. But I think the man Chris Eubank Sr. would he'd be off for that night, you know what I'm saying? I think he'd the mind tricks by James Toney would get to this guy's head, and he'd be trying to do things that he's not really susceptible of doing. You know, he's a good counter puncher, you know what I'm saying? A good boxer, you know what I mean? Also a guy who could brawl, take punches and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But I think them punches from James Toney, man. James Toney could hit hard too. You see what he did to Prince Charles William, man. Lifted that man damn near off his feet, man, in the 12th round, you know. Now you see Chris Eubank Sr. was a guy, I think if he got too aggressive, it would just leave room for the man, what's his name, James Toney, to counter shot the man. Boom, slipping punches, the head movement, you know what I'm saying? He'd go to the man Chris Eubank's body. He'd probably even have Chris Eubank Sr. running around on his bicycle at some point in that fight, you know what I mean? Because Chris Eubank wouldn't be able to tag this guy clean. You know what I'm saying? And I think Chris Eubank Sr. would probably lose this fight. He'd lose this fight on points, you know what I mean? No doubt about it. I think this fight would go to the decision. I think Chris Eubank Sr. would, you know, he just would be, he'd be in awe of the man's skills, you know. And why do I say this? Because I think there was a super middleweight kind of, you know, there was a kind of joint on Sky Sports, a television program, and there was guys like Roy Jones there, Richie Woodhall, Steve Collins, and Chris Eubank, and I think even Calzaghe, you know what I mean? And they were just there talking about the heydays, glory days, and you know the man Chris Eubank Sr. It was basically like, man, these guys, James Toney and Roy Jones was just so great, man. Like he thought these guys were serious guys and they were really mean, and you know, like basically saying these guys were above his, you know, they like Chris Eubank was not on their level, you know what I mean? That's basically what he was saying, you know what I'm saying? He was basically saying he didn't care about being the best. He just wanted to be mentioned amongst being the best, being one of the best, you know what I mean? Because really and truly, if he did want to be the best, he'd challenge himself to go out there and fight these guys, you know what I mean? And that's why I think James Toney would win. He'd win this fight on points. I'd probably have it 8-4 unanimous decision. So let me know what y'all think about this fight and these two guys, and let me know who you guys think would have won this fight. I'm going with James Toney unanimous decision, 8-4. I think he'd outbox the man easily, you know what I'm saying? And just depending on how motivated James Toney is, you know, it could even be worse, you know what I mean? So let me know in the comment section what y'all think about this fight. B Marsh Boxing, thanks for listening. I'm going to throw the links to all the playlists of my Fights We Didn't Get to See series in the description box. And I'm actually throw that interview where the man, James Toney, insulted both Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. and called out their mom, out their name, and they ain't do nothing about it. B Marsh Boxing, thanks for listening. Peace. I'm out.